Caitlin Clark just landed another incredible endorsement. This time it's with Stanley Cups.
Caitlin Clark just broke the internet again. But this time, it wasn't a record-breaking game or a highlight reel three-pointer. It was a cup. Yes, a Stanley Cup. The one everyone's obsessed with, from college campuses to office desks to moms collecting every color drop. And the moment her name got attached, shelves were wiped clean, resale prices skyrocketed, and social media went into a frenzy. This wasn't just an endorsement, it was a cultural takeover. Caitlin Clark is no longer just selling jerseys or sneakers, she's selling lifestyle. She's selling the vibe. And the craziest part? She doesn't even have to touch a basketball to do it. If you thought sneakers were the peak of athlete endorsements, think again, because Clark just turned water bottles into the new Jordans. And trust me, what happens next will shock you. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the breakdown of how Caitlin Clark is rewriting the rules of sports marketing. Caitlin Clark has signed plenty of sports deals, Nike, Wilson, Gatorade, but nobody expected this one. Stanley, the brand that turned a simple water bottle into a full-blown lifestyle craze, just made Clark their newest face. And instantly, the market erupted. Think about it. Stanley Cups were already a cultural phenomenon. People camped outside Target for pastel color drops, resellers flipped them online for triple-digit prices, and collectors treated them like sneakers. But once Caitlin Clark entered the picture, the hype went nuclear. This wasn't just an athlete getting another sponsorship. It was the perfect collision of two unstoppable forces, a brand that dominates shelves and a player who dominates culture. And the second Clark's partnership was announced, sales shot through the roof. It wasn't about basketball. It wasn't even about drinkware. This was Clark stepping outside her lane and proving that anything connected to her name, anything, can turn into a sellout frenzy. But if the deal itself shocked fans, what happened next showed just how powerful this partnership really was. The rollout was pure chaos in the best way possible. The photo shoot dropped. Caitlin Clark, rocking fever colors, relaxed in Nike sweats, smiling with Stanley Cups like she already knew the internet was about to melt down. And within minutes, that's exactly what happened. Screenshots flooded timelines. TikToks racked up views by the millions. Twitter threads turned into free advertising campaigns as fans argued over which version of the cup they wanted. The wildest part? The cups weren't even officially released yet, but resale groups were already buzzing, with collectors making lists, trading early mock-ups, and setting alarms for drops that didn't even exist. That's not hype, that's dominance. Clark didn't just push a product. She created a wave of anticipation so strong that fans were ready to buy before there was even a link. And in today's market, that kind of frenzy is priceless. Most athletes need highlight reels or game-winning moments to keep their name trending. Clark just needed a picture and a cup, and when a brand can generate this kind of attention before release day, you know something much bigger is happening. Because this wasn't just about Stanley Cups anymore. This was proof that Caitlin Clark had crossed into a whole new level of cultural influence, one where she didn't need basketball to take over the conversation. Here's where the Stanley deal becomes something far bigger than cups. Caitlin Clark didn't just sell to basketball fans, she sold to everyone. Moms who never watched a WNBA game suddenly wanted the Fever Red Edition. College students lined up because the Iowa Gold reminded them of her record-shattering run. Office workers who couldn't name a single player in the league still grabbed a Clark Stanley because it was trending. That's what you call crossover power. Sneakers, jerseys, and basketballs are expected athlete products. But Stanley Cups? That's lifestyle. That's kitchen counters, gym bags, and dorm rooms. Clark just proved her reach goes beyond the hardwood, beyond sports, and directly into everyday life. Think about it. There are people right now who will never watch her drop 30 points, but they'll still drink water from a cup with her name on it. That's when you know an athlete isn't just an athlete anymore. She's a cultural force. And of course, the bigger the crossover, the louder the critics get. Think about it. There are people right now who will never watch her drop 30 points, but they'll still drink water from a cup with her name on it. That's when you know an athlete isn't just an athlete anymore. She's a cultural force. And of course, the bigger the crossover, the louder the critics get. And right on cue, the haters showed up. It's just a cup. She doesn't deserve all these deals. Why is every brand chasing Caitlin Clark? The same tired complaints echoed across social media, as if her success off the court somehow takes away from her game on it. But here's the reality. Numbers don't lie. The moment her Stanley collab was teased, stores started reporting shortages. Website traffic spiked by double digits. Pre-orders stacked up before the official release. And resale groups, the same ones that usually obsess over Jordans and Yeezys, were suddenly fighting over Clark-themed drinkware. So critics can roll their eyes all they want. The cash register tells a different story. This wasn't hype created by PR teams or fake buzz. It was real demand, powered by Clark's name alone. That's why brands keep lining up, because while opinions are divided, the sales are undeniable. And Stanley didn't stumble into this. Behind the scenes, the rollout was a calculated play, and it worked flawlessly. Stanley didn't just slap Caitlin Clark's name on one random cup and call it a day. They rolled out a collection, 5 different models: the jug, the tumbler, the water bottle, the classic cup, and even a travel version. And the colors, each one tied directly to her journey: fever red, Iowa gold, navy for the pro look, and a subtle gray for the everyday crowd. It was like mapping her career through shades of drinkware. Fans didn't stop at buying one. Collectors grabbed the whole lineup. People were posting stacks of cups online like sneakerheads flexing rare Jordans. That's not just product design, that's marketing genius. And here's what made it work even more. Caitlin looked natural. In every promo shot, she wasn't stiff or awkward like some athletes in lifestyle ads. She was laughing, posing, holding the cup like it was second nature. Relatable enough for moms in the suburbs, cool enough for students on campus, and iconic enough to trend worldwide. Most athletes struggle when they step outside their lane. Clark slid in effortlessly. That's why brands can't stop chasing her. She isn't forcing these partnerships, she makes them look authentic. And the wildest part? She did all of this while she was injured. Here's what makes the Stanley deal almost unbelievable. Caitlin Clark pulled it off while she wasn't even playing. Injuries sidelined her for nearly half the season, but her relevance never dipped. Most athletes need highlight reels and game-winning shots to stay in the spotlight. Clark? She needed a photo shoot and a press release, and the internet did the rest. That's the definition of brand power. She doesn't have to dominate the scoreboard to dominate the market. Fans still show up, products still sell out, and her name still trends even when she's off the court. Sure, other WNBA stars have endorsement deals: Aja Wilson with Nike, Sabrina Ionescu with her own line, Angel Reese with Reebok, but none of them are moving lifestyle products at Clark's scale. Sneakers and jerseys are one thing. Selling cups to moms in Iowa and office workers in Boston? That's another level entirely. And that's why this deal is so important. It proved Caitlin Clark isn't just a sports figure, she's a cultural brand. One who can step outside basketball and still run the conversation. But here's the bigger twist. The Stanley collab was never just about cups, it was a blueprint for the future. The Stanley partnership wasn't just a sellout success, it was a signal. If Caitlin Clark can turn water bottles into the hottest item on the resale market, then what can't she sell? Other lifestyle brands are already paying attention. Because if she can move cups like Jordan's, imagine what happens when her name is tied to furniture, fashion, or even tech. Look at the portfolio she's built already. Nike for footwear, Wilson for equipment, Gatorade for beverages, Panini for collectibles, and now Stanley for lifestyle. That's 5 completely different industries, all dominated by a player in just her second year as a pro. Most athletes are lucky to crack 2 of those lanes. Clark is already running 5. This is the future of athlete branding, not just selling sports gear, but embedding into everyday life. Not everyone buys sneakers or watches basketball, but everyone drinks from a cup, wears a hoodie, or carries a bag. Clark's blueprint proves you don't need to be limited to the court. If you've got cultural pull, the products will move no matter what lane they're in. And that blueprint doesn't just change Caitlin Clark's career, it's forcing the entire industry to rethink how female athletes are marketed. Because if one deal with Stanley can trigger this much demand, just imagine the scale of what comes next. Every time Caitlin Clark trends, the WNBA trends with her. When Stanley Cup sold out, it wasn't just her win. This was a spotlight on the fever and on women's basketball as a whole. Sponsors, networks, and casual fans who never cared about the league suddenly had a reason to look closer. And here's the truth. Whether players love it or hate it, the entire league benefits from her pull. Ticket sales spike when she's on the schedule. Merchandise tables sell out when she's in town. Broadcast networks know that Clark's games triple viewership compared to others. She isn't just a star, she's the ratings guarantee. Of course, some players feel overshadowed by the attention she gets, and that frustration is real. But in business, brands invest where the market moves. And right now, Caitlin Clark is moving products, moving numbers, and moving culture at a pace nobody else can match. That's why the Stanley deal matters beyond drinkware. It's proof that Clark's influence isn't confined to the court. It stretches across industries, across households, and across the very perception of women's sports. And if a single collab with a cup company can do this, just imagine what's coming when the signature shoe finally drops. The Caitlin Clark x Stanley collab wasn't just about selling cups. It was about proving dominance. In minutes, shelves emptied. In hours, resale markets exploded. And in days, it became crystal clear. Caitlin Clark doesn't just play basketball, she moves culture. This deal showed the world that her brand extends into kitchens, classrooms, gyms, and offices. Fans don't just watch her drop 30 points. They literally drink from her cup. That's permanent brand integration. And it's something no critic, no injury, and no doubter can erase. The haters will keep shifting the goalposts. First it was, she'll never sell out arenas. Then it was, she won't land big deals. Now it's just a cup, but every time Clark smashes through the doubt with numbers that can't be ignored. And here's the bigger picture. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about the future of women's sports. She's showing brands, sponsors, and the entire market that female athletes can drive billion-dollar industries. The Stanley deal was more than a partnership. It was a precedent. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just selling jerseys or sneakers anymore, she's selling lifestyle, she's selling culture, and every sold-out drop is proof that the Clark effect is very, very real. So buckle up, because the cups were just the beginning. The signature shoe is still coming, and when it does, the entire sports world will feel the explosion.